Another day, another all-time high in US share market trading. Good morning. My name is Michael McCarthy and I'm the market strategist and the CEO at Moo Australia. And welcome to today's presentation of the Daily. US stocks once again hit record highs. And one of the drivers in the overnight trading was the fact that gold was going along with the market. Gold prices hit all-time highs, just below the $3,750 per ounce mark. And that upward momentum in gold has been very important to the markets. But last night, it was those big tech companies that led the way. Apple up 4.3%, Oracle up 6.3%, even Tesla, despite its very strong gains recently, added another 2% in overnight trading. And a lot of it was about Nvidia's announcement of a deal. It's going to invest $150 billion in OpenAI, and that was enough for investors to pile into the stock, driving Nvidia shares up 3.8% in trading overnight. Now, there was some criticism of the announcement, the idea being that Nvidia are investing in OpenAI and OpenAI will be buying Nvidia chips. Some see this as a rather circular argument. Others have argued that it's very powerful vertical integration. It does appear that the markets landed on the side of a positive deal in trading overnight, at least. And the first blush reaction to Nvidia's announcement was very positive. So a good night for US markets, the NASDAQ leading the way, and Magnificent Seven stocks all performing. ASX gold stocks were on the climb yesterday, in line with the gains that we're seeing in the gold price. As a group, they're up about 6%, and there were some very strong performers. Genesis, the best of them, up 12% in trading yesterday. So gold stocks remain a source of extraordinary gains for local investors at the moment. But with that focus on gold, there's been some neglect of a great performance in the silver price. Now, gold is at an all-time high, but silver's also approaching its all-time highs, trading around $44 an ounce at the moment. The all-time high in silver is just below $50 an ounce, and it's been hit twice, once in 2011 and once in 1979. And so silver approaching these historic levels is of big interest. And of course, the drag upward is partly brought about by the fervor for precious metals like gold, but it's the industrial use of silver that I think makes it such an interesting proposition at the moment. Solar and electric vehicles all need silver for their electronics, and supply has not been brought on board. And while there's been a big focus on lithium and to some lesser extent copper, the need for silver in this new technology is very real, and as yet looks as if it's been unmet by producers. A lot of silver stocks have made huge gains over the year. Yesterday in the US, in overnight trading, silver stocks as a group were up another 15%, and that adds to the extraordinary gains we've already seen in these stocks. The leading silver stocks in the US are up by 200% so far this year. That is, their share price has tripled, and most of the gold stocks are up around 100%. Their share price has doubled. So while gold has been grabbing all the headlines, silver stocks have also been performing very, very well. And as I say, I believe it's been flying under the radar. Now, some analysts are arguing the outlook is as good as it is for gold. I'd argue it was better because of those industrial uses. There's a lot of predictions that we'll see a test of those all-time highs, with some analysts calling for levels around $77 an ounce by 2027. Now, that's a long way out and a long way to go, but it's a sort of bold call that the strong momentum in silver and silver stocks is bringing out. Naturally enough, in this environment, we're seeing a great performance from silver ETFs. The Global X Silver ETF is up 114% year to date. It's got a collection of the world's biggest silver miners as its portfolio, and the ETF itself is back up to an implied 2012 high. It's one of the top performing ETFs over the last 6 months. Silver, once again, under the radar. Locally here in Australia, there's a group called Sun Silver. It's an Aussie miner. It's up 15% yesterday and 69% year to date. But its stock price is starting to catch up with the metal, and the company has announced that they're looking at a US listing as part of their growth strategy. And of course, bringing more investors into the fold could see that catch up with the silver price accelerate. So one to watch here on the local exchange. And just finishing our watch list of 3 with a look at Apple, up another 4.3% last night. Since August the 6th, so about 7 weeks ago, Apple shares are up 26%. Now, that's a good performance for any company, but for a company that has a valuation that starts in US dollar terms with a $3 trillion, it's an extraordinary capability. Now, the Apple is trading at an 8-month high, but it could soon cross over into the $4 trillion market cap. And at the moment, around the $3.8 trillion mark, one of the world's most valuable companies here, and it's still recording extraordinary daily gains as evidenced by that rise yesterday. There is some talk that there's a lot more potential for AI to add to bottom lines at Apple. Some of it seems to be speculative talk to me, but nonetheless, there is plenty of potential, and Apple trading on a very unstretched PE, particularly compared to many of its Magnificent Seven peers.